The opposition National Democratic Congress NDC has only 1 week to present an election petition to the Supreme Court following the rejection of the results of the 2020 elections. According to the Constitution, an aggrieved party may present an election petition to the Supreme Court within 21 days after the declaration of the results. The NDC has since served notice of its disagreement with the results declared by Chairperson of the EC, Madam Jean Mensah. We'll speak to a private legal practitioner, Lade Anyanini, shortly on this timeline. But first, here is my colleague Kwekwa Sante with a wrap of all that has happened since the declaration of the election results.
On the basis of the foregoing election results, by the power vested in me as the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana and the returning officer of the presidential election, it is my duty and honor to declare Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President-elect of the Republic of Ghana.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, declaring President Akufo-Addo as validly elected President on 9 December. This was expected to bring to an end a tumultuous campaign period, but the NDC's rejection of the results ushered the country into a new phase of nationwide protests. The party's presidential candidate, John Mahama, described the election as flawed and the results fictitious.
When in 2016, at the end of my first full term as president, I ran for re-election as an incumbent candidate, I respected the will of the people. I conceded, I stepped aside, and I set in motion a peaceful transfer of power because I understood that it was the will of the people. And if we are to progress as a nation, if we are to live up to the inheritance of our history, one for which people have paid the ultimate price, the sacred verdict of the people must be respected. It must be protected. It has been my pledge throughout my time of service as a representative to the good people of Ghana to do exactly that. And that is why I stand before you tonight, unwilling to accept the fictionalized results of a flawed election.
Party leaders urged their supporters to express their rejection of the results by pouring onto the streets to protest.
No, demonstration. No Mahama, no Mahama, no peace. No Mahama, no peace. No Mahama, no peace. No peace. No peace. No peace. Oh, Bonyo, Asama. No peace. No peace. No peace.
Over the last 2 weeks, NDC executives have led supporters across the country from Sefi, Takwa, Kumasi, Tamale, and Accra to demonstrate against the results. The protests have been characterized by burning of ties and, in some instances, confrontation with the police, who accuse the NDC of breaching the Public Order Act. But the party's action have been criticized by several civil society organizations, including IDEC, which have urged the NDC to present their evidence of fraud and rigging to the courts and Electoral Commission for redress.
As we have stated before, carrying out demonstrations and going to court are not mutually exclusive nor contradictory. Legal recourse may be pursued even as peaceful demonstrations are carried out. Therefore, we join the voices of the sections of the public to urge the NDC to present their concerns to the courts for legal redress. We wish to emphasize in this regard that going to court does not amount to a lost cause. We fully appreciate that the aggrieved parties may be concerned over the length of time required in pursuing court cases, and the fact that during this time, the processes of swearing in the president and parliamentarians will take place, seemingly bringing their case to naught. We wish, therefore, to explain that the Constitution indeed provides a tight schedule of statutory dates for the swearing in of the elected president and parliamentarians. This schedule will have to be followed in order that the entire system of governance does not come to a standstill, leading to a constitutional crisis. We wish to assure members of the public that the courts have the mandate to effect necessary changes following their verdicts on election-related disputes.
The latest protest was that of the NDC lawmakers who yesterday besieged the EC premises in a botched attempt to present a petition to the EC on the disputed Techiman South parliamentary election, which has been declared for the NPP. The minority have since held what they describe as a public collation of the Techiman South election, which they say shows their candidate won. The EC has since indicated it will begin an almost 1-month recess starting today, Wednesday, 23rd December to 19th January 2020. But on the substantive presidential election results the NDC have rejected, the party has only...
Legal practitioner and host of Joy News' current affairs show, Samson Ladi Anyanene, now joins me on the phone. Samson, judging from how things have panned out and with the election manual at view, how would you describe the days ahead from the law point of view as far as the NDC's contention of election results is concerned?
Right. So, by the law as founded on the Constitution itself. The Constitution itself, which is the supreme law of the country, dictates that if one is aggrieved by an election result, then they have the opportunity to ventilate that, grievance in the court by way of a petition. Now we have made other subsidiary laws, so to speak. We have an Act of Parliament, the Representation of the People Act, which also reaffirms the position in the Constitution. And we have also made CI 74, and the subsequent ones that we have made that clearly state how the processes ought to be brought. But in whatever way the process has to be done, the filing of the case must be done within 21 days from the date of the declaration of the result. That is, if you are suing on the presidential election, if you are challenging the presidential election result, you will file the suit or the petition in the Supreme Court. And the dates begin to count from the date of the declaration. So in this present circumstance, from the 9th of December, not the 10th that you see the Gazette notification. But when it comes to the parliamentary result, if you want to challenge the parliamentary result, which the NDC indicates it intends to challenge a number of them, the NPP also says it intends to challenge a number of them. The days begin to run from the date of the Gazette. And so, in respect of the parliamentary result, as we understand, either the Gazette must have been done yesterday or will be done tomorrow. So that is when the days will begin to run. In either case, there is fine. The door has not yet been shut to the NDC if it wants to do presidential petition or a parliamentary petition.
In all of these, something, the Electoral Commission has indicated it has taken a break and will return on January 9. And a move that many people have accused the EC of acting unlawfully or irresponsibly. If you recall, about over 30 CSOs who say the EC has acted irresponsibly, and they say the EC ought not to have taken that decision. Has the EC conducted an illegality?
An illegality, no. Straightforward, no. But look, laws are good, but we don't process our thinking everything in terms of law. We apply wisdom, common sense. And in the present situation, it clearly doesn't do well for the umpire of the elections to be talking about shutting its doors or closing shops. You don't do that. I work in a law firm. Many law firms, of course, are going on a Christmas break. We have all declared a break. But for a state institution, independent statutory institution, constitutional body like the Electoral Commission, and in the circumstances we find ourselves where the results are subject of disputation or contestation, that's the last we want to hear officially from the Electoral Commission. But I think they have issued another statement in respect of all 8 other officers in the various districts. And that statement appears, the last paragraph appears to clarify what was issued yesterday by saying that there will be some staff that will be available. That's what. You don't, if you want to take an action, you don't need the EC to open shop before you could go ahead. You really don't need them. You can go ahead and do your processes for as long as, even when they have shut and gone for break, there will be some secretary or person at the front of it to receive the legal processes. That is fine. But if the suggestion was that they were closing shops to the extent that, nothing at all will work, and therefore, even if people file these suits and they came there to serve the process of them, they won't find them. That would have been terrible. So the clarification that I think we find today, it's okay. I mean, everybody deserves complaint. So the staff who may not be in charge of the major work, the majority of them can go on break. As far as there can be a certain skeletal task to ensure that things that have to run in the period will run, that will be fine.
With the chairperson herself on going on break, that is fine.
You don't need her. You don't need her presence to be able to prosecute the case. Yes, and the fact is that once you have filed the processes, if the office as the Electoral Commission has been served and her presence is required, nobody will tell whoever it is to come from whichever vacation to attend to the court. Because if you don't show up, things will work in your disadvantage. That's the point of law. If you don't show up when you are required to show up and to defend your case in person, of course they will have lawyers. And in this digital world, they will instruct the lawyers from wherever they may be on break, and the lawyers will file the processes in their defense. But when the time comes for, say, evidence to be taken, where you need somebody to be in the witness box to speak, they will determine who will speak. It may not be the commission chairperson herself, unless where it's a presidential, petition, and the court, requires by an order that she will be the one to sit in the witness box. Then, of course, she will have to attend. And if she's on break, and the court finds that it is absolutely necessary, the clear orders will be issued. And if you disobey those orders, you'll be a candidate for grievance.
I'm grateful for your time. Samson Ladi Anyenene is a private legal practitioner and host of Newsfile. We'll be looking at how things unfold and get to the bottom of this matter. with 21 days deadline, I mean, we have just 1 week to that deadline, which the NDC would have to go to